Hey, I'm Lukas Graham and this is 5 Facts with Pop Flash.
I wake up and I pinch myself. You're with me, not some.
The story behind the track Love Someone. We were sitting in our studio in Copenhagen. Don Stefano, my main co-writer, Reezy, main instruments man, producer, and Germ, one of our lovely co-writers, and myself, writing this song about kind of the neighborhood I grew up in, my mom. And then suddenly Germ switched it and was like, what if it's when you love someone and you're not afraid to lose them? Then you've never loved before. And suddenly the song just changed and became this love ballad. I guess what a lot of people don't know, because they weren't in our heads when we wrote the song, was once we had that hook, writing the verses and the rest of the song became like an attempt of writing the positive version of someone like you. The idea that you're not at that bitter stage of after a breakup where you're kind of in denial, trying to tell yourself you don't need this other person. You're still in the relationship and acutely and like very aware that you can lose them and that you don't want that. So to me it's like a call to arms, like be a better version of yourself in your relationships, not just your romantic relationships, but also with your children and with your friends. It took 6 months to write the song. We couldn't really finish it in Copenhagen, so we finished it in LA a few months later. Hobbies or special talents. I've been trying to get back into like doing some sort of hobby, because I've just been touring for 8 years, more or less, traveling the world at least. So I'm gonna get back to like collecting small models and painting them. My daughter's 2 now, so it's like soon she'll be the age where you do something with her, like painting little things. I do gymnastics for fun. I don't think a lot of people know that. I'm gonna say this once, I'm only gonna say it once, and I'm pretty good at it, actually. I get my inspiration from my life, walking around the streets. I love talking to my really close friends and family because they've known my songwriting style for years, also from before anyone else would listen to what I was writing. And yeah, I know a lot of people don't take advice from their friends and family, where I'm quite selective with what family members I do pull into this more creative bubble that I have. There are people who will just like say whatever you'd like to hear, and then there's people who'd be like giving you constructive criticism even though they've never constructed anything, but they think that's what you do. You find something that's faulty and you point it out. But then there are also the people that you know, like when they say something, you know it comes from a loving place. When they're like, well, oh, I didn't really feel that groove, or I find that those melodies aren't as good as you can be on melodies. When you know that compliments or criticism is coming from a place of love and compassion, and that the people are genuinely trying to help you better your work, then it's great to listen to them. I mean, every single song I've ever put out is a collaboration. I haven't written anything purely just on my own. So we are a giant team. I've now gotten to collaborate with a lot of my songwriting heroes, Dan Wilson, Amy Wadge, of course Jamaican Germ. I'm trying to remember everyone. We brought some people back on this album that we worked with before. James Allen, that I wrote You're Not There with on the first record, was a co-writer on Love Someone. Yeah, I just like the vibe of collaboration. The idea that we can become better in a collective is great. And the whole idea that we can do things by ourselves in this day and age, it's a very arrogant assumption at least. And assuming that a collaboration has to be like once the song is out, then it's 2 people performing it together. I think it would be nice if the general public was aware of how much collaboration actually goes on behind the scenes. That being said, I wouldn't mind a lovely big ballad with say Adele. I think that could be a really beautiful thing. All the artists that are writing for themselves, actually, I think for me, because I want to be a part of the songs that I perform, I want to write them as well. I lived in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, for 5-6 months when I was 20 and wrote a lot of my first songs there. I always wanted to go back and stay for a long time, which I don't think is going to happen, unfortunately, with the work and family, but that was a time, that was a certain time and a lovely place to go.